And that was, and when I got back, there were actually hookers waiting on me. So it was the night.
Oh, it was a good night. It all worked out in the end. You know?
That's a win.
But then the hooker, the thing. So it
well,
was.
You can't just leave off at that. The hooker what?
I feel like I'm retelling stories, which seems kind of silly.
No,
but
I have not heard of this. The hooker had what? VD?
Okay, so I did not purchase these hookers. I would never do such a thing. But a hooker
Of course
was
not. You don't need to.
a hooker was purchased for me. I guess I did that night because Plan A had definitely fallen through. So I did not purchase this hooker, but a hooker was purchased for me, and I did not turn down said hooker. And because she was a very good-looking blonde lady, and I was okay. I'll have sex with you. So first things first, you got a picture. It's me, my friend, my cousin, and Jeremy. Jeremy with the issue, and so the whole trip, my friend Scott and I, my cousin, had been discussing this plot to find a transsexual hooker and sick her, if you will, on Jeremy. So he'd be like really into it because she's attractive, and then it would have a dick, and it'd be like a big fun joke, like she got a dick, right? And we thought that'd be hilarious, but we weren't really going to.
Dangerous sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. We weren't going to go through with it. We just thought it was a really funny joke, and we talked about it semi-seriously. You know what I mean? So.
Do you mean you didn't go through with it out of principle, or you couldn't find a tranny hooker in time?
That was attractive.
Because you also started with this conversation with like, well, I'm not into hookers, but well, this one time one was purchased for me. And it's like,
hey, Backpage
so you're not
is a hell
into
of a
it,
resource,
or
Taylor.
Only hooker
Backpage
story.
is a hell of a resource.
I promise. This is my only hooker story. So,
okay.
I'm trying to think.
Jeremy, tranny, fucking hookers.
Okay. So you have to. My cousin and I have been discussing throughout this long road trip to Texas the possibility of getting this tranny hooker and sicking her on Jeremy. So that's in your minds now. So we have our hookers in tow. We go back up to our floor, and we just sort of barge into Scott's room where he's sleeping, and Jeremy's in there as well. And so like one of the hookers just hops in bed with him, and she's like, "Hey, baby," and blah blah blah. And she's like kissing him on the cheek, and he was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on? All right." I was like, "Hey, Scott, you remember that special kind of lady we were gonna get for Jeremy?" He goes, "What the fuck? What the?" He's just like chest puffed out. "What the fuck?" And he's looking from me to her and trying to decide who takes the beating first. He's just like, somebody's gonna fucking pay. Somebody's gonna pay. And I'm like, he thinks you're a man. Prove it. Like, shows him her vagina, and it's like all cool, man. But he was ready to blow. And like you said, it would have been a dangerous scenario to actually pull something.
Like I mean, I guess that stunt wouldn't work on me because of the whole thing would be a non-starter. But a hypothetical single Woody would have had a good laugh with you guys. You know, but some guys, they respond violently to that thing.
Oh, yeah, some guys.
I think most guys would respond violently.
Really?
lot.
All right, is it my turn to tell a fucking story yet?
No, it's done yet. So that was just an addendum. That was just like a little side chapter to my main story. So me and my hooker go back to the room. We start doing it or whatever, and it was really weak. She like wanted to like go down on me with like a condom on, which was like I was like,
what
oh,
in God's name is she doing? She's supposed to be a professional.
And I'm struggling, and she's like, is it gonna get harder than this? And I'm just like, all right, focus. So I like focus with all my willpower, and I
force the blood.
Yeah. Like focus with all my willpower, and I get the full master, whatever, and we go at it, and we get done, and she goes, "Oh no," and I'm like, I've never heard that in bed before. I was like, what? And I'm scared because I've never heard. Imagine like you just have complete or whatever the deed is done, and some lady that you've never met before goes, "Oh no." I'm terrified, and I look down, and there's blood everywhere. I mean, a pool of blood, like you slaughter a goat at sacrifice. Like Satan would have accepted this. He totally would have. There's blood everywhere, all over my crotch area, my unit, my legs. There's blood everywhere.
My units, Jesus.
Who fucking uses that
My
term
piece.
anymore?
My piece.
Big Jimmy and the twins.
Yeah. And she's covered with blood, to her credit as well, because she was on her period and she thought, I'll just put a diaphragm in to hold back the floodgates of hell.
A really shitty dam you've got.
So it
there.
looked like the shining elevator all over that room.
Hey, it could have been worse. It could have been no period. And
He's like, no one's ever been big enough to knock it loose before. And I'm just like, I don't want to hear that right now.
I appreciate your compliment, but we got to deal with these stains right
But
now.
I could see how embarrassed she was. I mean, she was a hooker, all right, but she wasn't like classless. She had enough dignity to be horrified by this situation. She was just completely embarrassed. She was like calling downstairs for more sheets and stuff and apologizing for all of that because I was like, "You're gonna have to do something about those sheets because they're gonna think I killed somebody." Like, questions will be asked about this, okay? Think
That's
ahead.
a lot of fucking
He's
blood.
like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You can't just check out and leave this kind of shit. And I'm just like, yes. So I made her call down. She got the new sheets and everything. She apologized. We had a little incident. They're very dirty, so be careful how you handle them. And there's, oh, I understand. Blah blah blah. And left. Actually, it was Texas. Like, yes, I understand. So she left with the Rosamarita left with the sheets or whatever. And I kept picking on her. I was like, you know what? We're blood brothers now. We're blood brothers. So that was my hooker story. That was a really weird thing. And it got
Did
worse.
you get tested?
He had a condom on. He's
Well,
fine.
The condom isn't some magical thing that keeps half gallon of blood from getting in places.
Well, he didn't start drinking it
It's
like
a
a
full
trough
body
and go,
condom.
oh, yeah.
He doesn't
blood."
have to.
I
He doesn't
have
have to.
I have been tested since during my regular physical exams.
How
Make
many
sure-
open wounds do you have in your cock during intercourse, Kyle, where that would be an issue?
0.
That's the number to seek. Yeah, 0.
Yeah. I had an open wound. Would you I think you really got more.
certainly. If
Like
there
if
was
you got
blood
a
and open
button on
wound,
the side of that thing, you're just like, I don't know, weird lady I've never met before. It seems a little risky. No one does that. And that's insane. So yeah.
interesting story.